All youths, especially young men, had in their hearts the desire to achieve greatness. After a life of accomplishment, ambition, and contentment, a final moment of glory protecting and fighting for the people and ideas one believes in most was the ideal way to the world beyond. However, when this moment approached, the luster of its glory often faded, replaced with the grim reality of what it means to be mortal. This did not stop many men from trying. One such man was Arys Oakheart. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Exploring Fiction. Yet another member of the Kingsguard with a heart for great deeds and a mind for glory, Sir Arys was appointed with the task of guarding the crown's middle child in a foreign and somewhat hostile location. But the naiveté and thirst for grandeur present in the heart of Arys soon showed, and in the company of a lover, as well as she he was tasked to protect, he spurred forth in what he hoped to be a blaze of glory. Instead, Arys met a swift end. Such were the true ways of the world. So, who exactly is Arys Oakheart, and why is he such an interesting character? Let's explore. Arys Oakheart was born around the year 274 AC to Lady Arwen Oakheart of Old Oak and her husband. The details of Arys's childhood were sparsely spoken, though he was known to covet a position on the esteemed Kingsguard for much of his life. In the year 290 AC, he received his chance, as he was named to the White Cloaks in service to King Robert Baratheon. Arys was considered attractive even amongst the other nobles of King's Landing. He was tall and courteous, with fair brown hair and a warm smile. Beneath his white Kingsguard garb, he wore a tunic decorated with the golden oak sigil of his house, and pinned his cloak around his neck with a golden oak leaf. As a Kingsguard, he was formidable with the weaponry of a knight, though his time to test his mettle had yet to arise. Sir Arys Oakheart appears briefly in the first novel of A Song of Ice and Fire, A Game of Thrones, as he participates in the King's Hand tourney in King's Landing. He is also present at the steps of the Iron Throne when his Lord Commander, Sir Barristan Selmy, is dismissed from his position. Along with the rest of his peers, Arys laughs openly at his former leader's misfortune and humiliation. In A Clash of Kings, Sir Arys continues to serve as a member of the White Cloaks. Along with the rest of the Kingsguard, he is personally ordered by King Joffrey Baratheon to enact beatings upon Sansa Stark. The lost she-wolf of Winterfell despises him less than the others, however, as Arys softens his blows and attempts to keep her company. Sansa receives some news of the world outside the Red Keep from Arys, but he cannot provide her more than passing comfort between bouts of unjust assault. But Arys is soon tasked with a mission of greater importance, with a new noble lady to protect. He is chosen by Tyrion Lannister, the acting hand of the king, to travel to Sunspear with Princess Myrcella Baratheon as she meets her betrothed, Prince Trystane Martell. Before he departs, Arys prays to the new gods with gratitude for being chosen for such a mission, as he is thankful to leave behind such a vile city and population. In A Storm of Swords, Arys Oakheart is mentioned only briefly, but he plays a much more prominent role in A Feast for Crows. Since settling in Sunspear to watch over Myrcella, Arys has fallen under the seductive spell of Princess Arianne Martell, breaking part of his Kingsguard oath. Arianne, like the rest of the Dornish royal family, despises the Lannisters, and through her persuasive words and romantic gestures, convinces Arys to support Myrcella as the true heir to the Iron Throne. Following the customs of Dorne, it would be Myrcella, after all, not Tommen, who can stake the greatest claim to power. Casting aside his inhibitions, Arys agrees, and escorts Myrcella in the company of Arianne and her allies toward the Greenblood. However, Arianne's grand plans sputter before they even reach their pinnacle, Waiting at the Greenblood is Arys Oakheart and a troop of Prince Doran Martell's house guards, ready and willing to dissuade and disperse the conspirators. Almost inexplicably, Sir Arys Oakheart spurs his steed forward in a foolhardy rush to meet them in combat, and while he dispatches multiple guards, he is cut down with a swift stroke from Arys Oakheart's axe, and in the ensuing chaos, Princess Myrcella is maimed by Sir Gerald Dane, one of Arianne's supposed allies. Later, in captivity, Arianne suffers nightmares over Arys's death, and she, along with the rest of the royal family, agrees to misdirect the Lannisters and their forces into believing Arys died a hero protecting Myrcella from the rogue knight Darkstar. To all but himself, the actions of Sir Arys Oakheart moments before his demise are both surprising and confusing. He is leagues from home, in the company of mostly strangers, facing unconquerable odds. His lone task is to protect Princess Myrcella, but in an unexpected storm of dust and blood, he charges ahead at a battalion of Royal Dornish guards. But none of his supposed allies charge with him. They see the folly in Arys's actions, and are just as surprised as their enemies at his reckless abandon. Alone, Arys meets Arys Oakheart and the other Martell soldiers, falling to a slash of the captain's axe. Had Arys surrendered, his honor and reputation as a member of the Kingsguard could have come into question. He is already an oathbreaker, of which Princess Arianne Martell made certain through her seductive ways. But worse yet, he could now be seen as an accomplice in a coup attempt against the very king he supposedly serves. But Arys gives himself no chance at survival, no chance to test his luck with the Dornish dissidents. Instead, he decides to rally and attack the enemies at his front, perishing protecting those he loves and serves, and Arianne and Myrcella can only watch, frozen in fear. To some, the actions of Arys Oakheart in this moment could be considered selfless or brave, but most who behold and hear of his final act view it as nothing more than a man who has much to live for, choosing death over life. All members of the Kingsguard held closely to their vices. Of this, Sir Arys Oakheart was not exempt. Through his romantic entanglements with Princess Arianne Martell, he was convinced to support Myrcella Baratheon as rightful heir to the Iron Throne, over her brother, the crowned king, and even actively participated in an ill-begotten venture to enact this plan. But when staring death in the face, Arys chose to embrace it, charging alone towards a horde of enemies who cut him down swiftly while his allies watched. In the end, Arys was to be remembered not as a hero or a martyr, or even a traitor, but as a fool. Arys Oakheart possessed a fool's valor. So, that's all for this video. Leave a comment with your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to have you. Visit my website, RussellAWellsAuthor.com, for exclusive reviews, fiction, and more. And sign up for my mailing list for free exclusive content. The links for both are in the description below. And, like always, I will see you next time.